We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for this weekend has failed. Check your workstation for the details.
What's going on, guys? It's Luke 22SV here, back with the 16th round of the Season 2 of the Mick Schumacher career mode, here for the Russian Grand Prix this weekend, with some bad news there about our aero upgrades, major aero upgrades, which will not come to the car this weekend. Have a bit of an issue in coming preparation for this weekend. And as you can see, Williams and McLaren actually bringing a fair few upgrades as well to this track. So they should be improving as well, which is good to see. We don't really want to see McLaren and Williams bringing up the rear anymore, and it's a bit frustrating for them. But we finished 5th this time in Russia last season, so we'll be looking to do better than that this weekend. But coming into this weekend, we had some engine penalties to take. It was tactical. We decided we might as well take these engine penalties. Perhaps in hindsight, we could have done it in a different track, but we just decided to do it here. And we got a new engine coming through. Everything's new MGU-K, MGU-H, everything, and all those are just going into our our parts that aren't allocated to us. So we're going to get a load of penalties, and we'll be starting this race from the back of the grid then. So there'll be no qualifying to see. We didn't even bother participating in qualifying, which we're going to lose loads of reputation anyway, but that's irrelevant. But yeah, that's another bad thing about current career modes, is that when you take penalties, when there's no point taking part in qualifying, you're going to lose a reputation for not meeting your objectives, even though you're just going to be starting from the back anyway. So you're just going to be wasting tyres to meet objectives, and that's a thing that really should be looked at and changed into the next F1 game. But we'll be moving on into the race then for the Russian Grand Prix, starting from 20th place and last. So no one knows what the grid's going to be at the moment. So if there's a teammate of ours at the front, we might have regretted our choice to take all these engine penalties coming into this weekend. But championship-wise, if we get them out of the way now, and they're having to take theirs in Mexico or Brazil, well, it is Charles Leclerc on pole, but if they do have to take them, we'll be further at the front, and they'll be at the back, and then we can gain points from them then. But Vettel, Hülkenberg, Verstappen and Ricciardo down in 5th, so maybe it's going to be a battle between ourselves and Leclerc for the rest of the season for the title, because Ricciardo's gone completely off the boil in recent races particularly. And then you can see Stoffel Van Dorn, and Hartley's also got some penalties to him as well. So we're at the back with Brendon Hartley, so we'll be seeing what we can do then from the Russian Grand Prix. Hoping actually we can get to somewhere like 5th or better in this race, which is what we got last season. But we come on then to start this race then with the 5 red lights slowly coming up onto the screen, and the 5th red light is there now, and it's lights out, and away we go for the Russian Grand Prix. It's a fairly slow start, but luckily for us, we're not going to lose any places off the start. Probably one of the only times we haven't lost many places off the start this time this season. But we get a nice little toe there off Stoffel Van Dorn, and then you can see, you probably guessed it, but Brendon Hartley's gone and done it as well. We all just dive bomb up into first corner, and we're up into P12. And Brendon Hartley from 19th on the grid up into 9th on. So Hartley as well dive bombing into turn 1. And now we've got Pérez and Sainz ahead of us as well, battling away, and Sainz getting a better of Pérez there. And Pérez having a poor exit. We were almost thinking about making a move on Sergio Pérez there, but we don't want to damage a front wing because we're thinking about the championship right now, and we're just trying not to take too many risks. Although we just gained 8 places in one corner there as well. But now Sergio Pérez, a better exit than him into that corner. But now almost Pérez cutting across in front of us there. But then he does cut across in front of us. But now we end up driving off the track, forced wide a bit by Pérez, and we're now back ahead of him side by side, heading towards the main overtaking spot in this track. And well, it's a nice little left-hand bend coming into this corner. And now Pérez is still alongside us on the inside, but we shut the door and we take 11th place away from Sergio Pérez. So 9 places gained on lap 1, and we'll view the replay very shortly with us making those overtakes on Sergio Pérez and the rest of them. But a good start then for us, and a start we needed to make if we want to get points and damage limitation on Charles Leclerc this weekend. Again, a difficult couple of races it looks like it is going to be for us, and well, we just got to make sure we don't lose too much ground in this championship fight. We were about 50 points clear of Leclerc, and coming at the end of this race, if we're not careful, we could be close enough to actually lose the lead going into the next race, which is Japan. Anything can happen in Japan as well. You see Hartley making the most of the dive bomb and we're also making the most of the dive bomb as well. Another thing Cody's really needs to address into F1 2019 is that the cars, the teams, just very different to how they are in real life at the start of the race. And but again, this game has been really good as well, so you can't complain too much, but there's always room for improvement. And again, the Codemasters have developed their games really well over the last couple of years. Since moving to the Xbox One and PS4 generation of consoles, they've been pretty much one of the best racing games as well. And even though the AI needs to improve so much, they're probably one of the best AIs on most racing games that there are about anyway, because Forza's AI are just terrible. Well, on Forza 6 they are, Motorsport 6, but here we are then, we're side by side with Sergio Pérez, coming towards the main overtaking spot. Can we get ahead of him into the corner, or is he going to be able to fight back? But we're side by side, but we just got a better line and more confidence, and get away from him, and now focus on trying to catch up to Carlos Sainz and the rest of the pack. And that's what we are doing right now. We'll move on to lap 3. You can see Hartley fighting with Ocon, so Hartley continuing in his great start to the race then, actually making more progress than we have, to be fair to him. Toro Rosso actually looking quite strong this season. Since the start, they've started to improve slowly, and well, apart from his grid penalty, he could have been a bit further up the grid, but thanks to his move into turn 1, he's done that for him. But Carlos Sainz getting out of shape into the next corner, not getting a better exit. We're really on the back of him, so this is an overtaking spot for us. We've got DRS. It's the first time we'll have DRS as well this lap. The DRS is wide open, going towards the main overtaking spot on this track. You see Hartley and Ocon going side by side into this corner as well, so they're fighting each other. We dive down the inside of Carlos Sainz, and he's almost just completely shuts the door on us, but we end up having to pull out of that one, and we'll stay in P11. But Carlos Sainz then defending hard for his P10. He's probably looking about getting past these guys, because he really should be further up the order than what he is. But Carlos Sainz then will be looking to defend and attack at the same time. And now Ocon's back ahead of Brendon Hartley, so those two are having a nice little scrap, and surely maybe into turn 1 on this lap we can make a move. But Carlos Sainz got a better exit out of the last corner. We tend to struggle at that last corner at the moment, but we've got DRS wide open. And I should just mention that we are on ultra soft tyres as well, if you haven't noticed all that already. But there you can see Hartley and Ocon going side by side, and Ocon locks up, and we have to stick to the runoff area and rejoin the track as well. So disaster there, or almost. We almost lost a bit of front wing by running into Ocon there, but Ocon locking up and going a little bit wide and just going really slowly, so we had to basically just avoid him and go off the track, which was not what we wanted to do. But Ocon's now lost the place, and Carlos Sainz will be licking his lips and trying to get past Brendon Hartley now. But he's glad he's got one car cleared out of the way. But now we've got Ocon ahead of us. He's the next target for us, and hopefully we can get past him. But yes, we are on ultra soft tyres. Everyone else is on hyper soft. In fact, we did look like we got a bit of front wing damage there, but no harm really done. It's only a slight knock to the front wing. It's still just dark green. If it gets dark green, or worse than dark green, which is yellow, then orange, and then red, that's when you should be starting to be concerned and perhaps needing to change the front wing. But here we are, we're getting a nice tow on Esteban Ocon, and now surely we can dispatch of him and get up into the points then. So we're 10th place here, and we're in the points, and now we can start focusing and hopefully getting some good laps in, and surely we can get close enough to Carlos Sainz and Brendon Hartley in the next couple of laps. Hopefully we can close in on those guys. We're almost running into the wall. In fact, we do clout the wall slightly there, so we need to be careful with that wall, and making sure that's the last time that happens in this race, because we saw ourselves come too close to a wall in Singapore and end our race with retirement in that race as well. So we did not want to do that again in this race, because that would really decimate the championship lead that we have over Leclerc and Ricciardo. And now moving on to lap 5, we got to pit in a couple laps time then, and everyone else is fighting. Sainz and Ocon, Sainz and Hartley I should say, going side by side, and now we're moving on to our pit lap. So everyone else is pitted, and we're now in P1. So Leclerc still leading the way, and we're going to be pitting 40 hyper soft tyres, so hopefully we can get a nice little gain on those guys. And we've put in some solid laps over the last couple of laps, and hopefully we can actually get an overcut on these guys. We tried to get the undercut in the last couple of races in Singapore. Obviously it didn't work, because we ended up undercutting ourselves into the barrier. In this race we're looking to overcut, because we're on these ultra softs. We're going over to these hyper softs, and now getting off these off those ultra softs, we should be on the faster tyres, and hopefully we can actually put in some good laps and close in on those guys ahead of us. And now we're in P7, so we're overtaking Ocon, and Hartley in the pits by the looks of it. So a great pit stop for us. Now we can see Max Verstappen just ahead of us, so surely we can get close enough to Max Verstappen and overtake him. So a great little few laps for us has put us into P8 from P10. So gained 2 places on Sainz, Ocon and Hartley in those last couple of laps. So Ocon's actually gained a couple of places too. So Sainz and Hartley struggling then in a pit stop phase. But now coming on to the end of lap 8, we got close enough to Max Verstappen to perhaps think about overtaking him here. DRS is wide open and going to get a nice little slipstream. Hot lap mode and rich mix as well enabled, and that's an easy straightforward pass. With these hyper soft tyres we should easily be on the back of Daniel Ricciardo within a couple laps, and hopefully trying to get P6 next, which is our target. So the more points we get in at this point, and perhaps we can think about the podium as well, because if you look on the mini-map, the Mercedes are there as well, and then you can see the Renault as well. So is a podium possible in this race? Can we catch up to Nico Hülkenberg, who's in 3rd place, Sebastian Vettel is 2nd, and Leclerc looks like a long way down the lead, down the road in the lead of this race. So we're in P7 here, and we're closing in on Daniel Ricciardo with just a few laps to go. And moving on to lap 10 now, we're within just 2 seconds of Daniel Ricciardo, who's fighting with both the Mercedes, who are having a fairly good race as well for them. It's been a bit of a disappointing season for Mercedes, well, particularly the last couple of races. Starting to slip down the order as well, with Renault and Ferrari improving all the time. It looks like they're going to be losing places in the constructors' standings to those guys eventually. But Mercedes having a good race here, and we're closing in on them. Both the Mercedes having a little fight with each other. Bottas and Hamilton going wheel to wheel, and then Ricciardo looking to gain on those guys as well, because Ricciardo, he needs to gain on those guys if he wants to compete in this championship still. And we need to get past him as well if we want him to fall back in the championship. It could be a 2-horse race with myself and Leclerc for the last few races. We've got Japan, we've got USA, we've got Mexico, we've got Brazil and Abu Dhabi, and that's the last 5 races of this season to see whether we can win the championship or not. And we've got DRS here, so can we get close enough to Ricciardo perhaps to make an overtake? But he's going to have DRS as well on the 2 Mercedes, and the Mercedes is going to have Mercedes with the DRS on the other Mercedes. But we're thinking about making a move on Ricciardo, a Ricciardo style move on Ricciardo, but we're too far back, and we don't want to lose front wing. But Bottas is the one behind Hamilton, so Hamilton's got the head of Bottas for the time being, which is what we're used to seeing on this game. Bottas has been a bit temperamental over the last couple of seasons on this career mode, and well, who knows what could happen in the last few laps. Can we get close enough to Ricciardo? And this is a good exit now, surely out of the last corner. We've got DRS surely, and surely we can overtake him. We've got DRS about to be activated now, and he's got DRS activated. We go down the inside, and we're going to take P6. So now both the Mercedes ahead of us. Can we overtake them? And Bottas and Hamilton locks up, and Bottas goes so slow on the exit, we damaged our front wing. So a complete disaster there. And well, that was always likely to happen. We've had a few near misses already in this race, and now we're going to dive down the inside of Hamilton, wheel to wheel, we just bang wheels with him, and we take P5 away from Hamilton. But Bottas was going so slowly on the middle of the first corner, so we just couldn't stop ourselves in time that time. And it was just, I don't know why they were doing that. Hamilton locked up. There was no need for Bottas to turn into a bus. Although he was a bust pretty much in 2018 anyway. But here we are then with just 2 laps to go. We got to defend our broken front wing from Hamilton and Ricciardo, and now Verstappen as well closing in. So we're in P5 where we finished last season in this race, but we're going to be able to stay there? It doesn't look likely with Hamilton all over us with our damaged front wing. Surely it's only a matter of time in these last 2 laps of the race. He's going out on the wide, he's going a long way around trying to overtake us. But surely we can defend. This is where we overtook Sebastian Vettel in a real life season, and now the Red Bulls looking to overtake him as well, with Daniel Ricciardo looking very hungry to get those points back off of us, and it doesn't look like he has managed to get past him, and now he's having to defend from his teammate Max Verstappen, who's going wheel to wheel with him as well. So Ricciardo's getting really feisty. He's having to look behind and in front. In these last couple of laps, we're only being able to look behind. We're just getting our mirrors filled with Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes. And again, he looks really close now. Surely, in this DRS zone, he's going to get past us. Or if not, it's going to be on the start-finish straight to start the last lap. And look how close he is now. He's going to the outside to overtake us. Surely, he's going to get the move that puts him up into P5. And, well, puts us down to P6. And that's 2 less points. That could be 5 to win this championship. But we need to keep ahead of him. We break much later than Hamilton. And we just about keep hold of our P5 for the time being. And now we go to the onboard of Hamilton. Terrible camera view that is. I must say. But Hamilton P6, now you can see both the Red Bulls still behind us, and surely is Hamilton going to make a move into the penultimate corner of this lap? He goes down the inside, but we carry it round on the outside, and he just for some reason gets a bad exit out of that corner. For some reason Mercedes like to go slow through the middle of corners for some reason on this at the moment. But now on the last lap of the race, with P5, P6, P7 and P8 all in one view, surely this is a lot of points at stake here, and you can see in the background, and then Hamilton going down to the inside, and surely this is the move that puts Hamilton up into P5. No, again he's slow out of turn 1, and we got ourselves in P5 ahead of these guys behind us now, and we've got just one lap to go in this race, and you see Hamilton behind us, both the Red Bulls following us as well, and surely it's only a matter of time before we lose all these places. You can see in the background Carlos Sainz as well closing in, so if there's a contact we could even be outside the points at this rate, because Ocon's there as well. And now with just one lap to go and probably just 1 or 2 overtaking spots left to go, we could see ourselves losing more than one position here with just a few corners left on this race. With our teammate taking 25 points, that's at least 15 points going away from this title fight. And there you can see it's a train of 5 cars with just a couple of corners left. Hamilton looks to the inside to make a move down the inside, and then you can see Ricciardo is there as well. But again, it looks like Hamilton might have got past, but again we're just quicker around the exit. Hamilton in that Mercedes that likes to go slow through the apex of corners, and it's not just Valtteri Bottas doing it. But there we go. It looks like we may be able to finish this race in P5 then. Surely that is going to be the end of this race. Hamilton looking to the outside, and it's Charles Leclerc, the race winner. Again, Hamilton looking to the outside with just a couple corners left. We've made a few overtakes on the last corners of laps, but not today. We're going to cross the line in P5. It could have been much better than that, but we're going to take that from 20th on the grid to 5th. It's not a bad result, but again, it could have been 4th or even 3rd today, which is an extra 5 points. But it's an extra 5 points that we don't have, and it looks like, well, we just got to focus and hope that this is going to be good enough for the rest of the season. And again, Frederick Vasseur celebrating as he usually does, and Leclerc winning from both Vettel and Hülkenberg, so the 2 Germans again putting in a stellar performance. And we'll see where we are in the drivers and constructors in just a second, and hopefully we haven't lost too much time or too much points to these guys. And you can see Sainz and Ocon and Hartley didn't get into the points in the end from 19th, and a bit disappointing for him. But there you can see 13 points now is the gap between myself and Leclerc, and that is, again, if we finish 5th and he finishes 1st, he's going to be ahead by 2 points after Japan. So it's all to play for in this championship. Maybe not for Ricciardo, but he's still there or thereabouts if one of us slips up. And Vettel is climbing up the standings as well, and Hülkenberg is there. But there you can see the constructors were still 87 points clear of Red Bull, so it looks like the constructors is going to be heading back to Switzerland, and well, good news for Sauber. But that's going to be the end of the episode there, guys. Well, with just 5 races left, who's going to win this championship out of me and Leclerc or Ricciardo? We'll find out very soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon for the next race in Japan.